and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I've got a real fun delight with me. She's a internet sensation, an Instagram mogul, Violet Benson, also known as Daddy Issues. So you've got your Instagram Daddy Issue account, which you post really funny memes and jokes, and then you have your own account, which is also very entertaining because that's you kind of like giving your opinion and stuff. I really like some of your little rants on things and dating. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What made you want to invite me? Because, have you seen Daddy Issues before?
I've heard of Daddy Issues and all of that, but Kelly, who works with me, was the one that was like, oh, I think you'd hit it off with this girl. And she has an interesting story because I always like when people have an interesting life story as well as being funny and entertaining. So I was like, cool, great.
Okay, well, at least you didn't lie. And you were like, no, I've been a fan forever. Guys, welcome Violet Benson. She is a internet mogul. So that's good, yeah.
Yeah. No, of course. Look, but I mean, I like funny people, and I thought you were really funny. I like all your stuff on dating. Let's talk a little bit about dating. Okay, so I like what you're, like, okay, some of the funny videos that you did that I thought was interesting is about, asking your friends for advice, of dating advice, and don't text them and everything. And I think that's really funny, but there's one thing that I've noticed with females, and I saw it like on a talk show years ago, and it stuck with me. And it was like, this woman came forward and she goes, maybe we're too supportive of each other. Like maybe we're a little bit too much quick to go kick him to the curb. You're better than him. You can do better. There's other fish in the sea. Actually, there aren't that many fish in the sea. There really aren't. We're actually losing literally a lot of fish in the sea. Yeah. And so I think sometimes as kids, as this generation of like 20-somethings, are trying to date, and I have young boys who will in a couple of years, be dating. I think it's really hard for these guys to know what to do. I think, this is, okay, so tell me what you think.
My face expression.
This is why I think it's hard for the guys versus when I was dating, okay? When I was dating...
In the 60s.
Yes.
I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. You should never make fun of a woman's age. I'm so kidding. That's it. I'm canceled. I'm over. I'm kidding.
I dated in the 90s.
Yeah, okay? I was going to say 90s.
So the 90s. And in the 90s...
You're a Gemini.
You would have to talk to someone at a party. You'd have to have enough flirting going on that they would ask for your number. Then the guy would then put that number in his pocket and hopefully not lose it. Then he would have to pick up a phone or a mobile phone. I had a mobile phone by, 1994 or something. No, 92. I had my first cell phone. Okay, anyway. Then he'd have to dial that number in, and you'd have to answer it, or you'd have to leave a message, and you'd have to call him back. So already that's more effort than anybody's done.
I miss the old dating.
And then this other thing would happen that I know a lot of people your age have not experienced. They would call and say, would you like to go out to dinner on a Saturday night or something? And then you'd give them your address, and then they'd come, and they would pick you up. And come up to your door, your apartment door, and then put you in the car, and then drive you, and then pay for it. Okay? So that is what doesn't happen, it seems like now.
What would happen at the end of the date?
If I'm into it, definitely drinking, definitely making out, dry humping. For me, I was like an old virgin, so I was very into dry humping. It would be several dates before more than that would happen. I'd play the game. I wouldn't answer the phone right away. Well, I had the luxury of doing that, which you don't really have with the phone.
There wasn't caller ID back then. So.
There was no caller ID, so I would not know.
So you just wouldn't answer the phone at all with anyone.
If I was scared, I would let it go to the answering machine.
Oh, got it.
And then I could hear it. Or the voicemail. I had voicemail on my phone, so I could check the voicemail. And I could hear the voicemails. And those were remotely I could get anywhere. Then with the cell phone, people could leave, and then I could recognize the number and all of that. But the point is, the guys, it's so easy for them now. There's no challenge. They meet you or on the Tinder or whatever, and then let's meet up, and you make it so easy because you're like, the guy can't pick me up because otherwise he'll come and murder me. So let me just go meet him at Starbucks, which you can also get murdered at Starbucks. But there's just no, for the guy, I think we've taken out all the challenge.
I mean, I think there's no challenge because in a way, social media, I mean, Instagram has become a new dating app, but
Right.
I think in a way, like, dating apps and social media have taken away the charm and, trying to get someone, because if you say no, there's like a million other girls these guys are going to swipe right to, and they'll just go on a date with someone else. And like a lot of times now, I feel like, I have said before that sometimes it feels like chivalry is dead.
Yes.
Because guy doesn't even have to pick up the phone anymore to call you to ask you out. He'll just text you, be like, come through, or like WID, which means like, what you doing, So I wouldn't blame, I would say, the girls being too supportive and telling the guy to F off. It's more, I would blame the culture.
I think it's several things. It's several. No, but I'm saying that's once you become a couple. I think there's a little too much of when you complain about your boyfriend and everybody is just like, get rid of him, girl. You're better than that.
Not always.
And, well, I'm saying then good, because I don't think that should be. I mean, obviously, if they're cheating or they're abusive or they're alcoholics, just like, of course, get rid of them. But when they're little, like, miscommunicative things that you're annoyed with and you're sharing that with your girlfriends, I want to say, can we just, like, educate this guy a little? Can you give him another chance? Can you tell him?
But what if in the beginning it's already miscommunication or he's not putting in an effort? Isn't that him literally already showing you in the beginning that he's not that into you, and that he's showing you in the beginning a behavior that's not going to change? So if you're going to ignore the red signs, and then in the middle of the relationship, now you're with him for 6 months and he's pulling the same shit, it's like, yeah, bitch, duh, he was doing that in the beginning.
Definitely. So, the signs should be there.
What do I know? I'm literally going to be alone for the rest of my life.
The effort should be there from the start, okay? But I do think it's really hard. And listen, it's the same thing now with my friends that are like in their mid-40s and divorced and dating. And at first it's really fun. They're like, oh my God, I've got rid of my boring husband and this is so amazing. And these guys are hitting on me and I feel great. But to the guy that's now 45, that got no tail in high school, he married the first girl that, liked him in college. They got divorced. He's like, oh my God, look at this phone. I can have chicks show up at my house all the time because I own a home. And they're excited. They want to hop on my 45-year-old dick and my 3-bedroom, 2-bath home like you would not believe. And then all these other girls are like, he's not the cutest, but I'm going to settle because I'm a hotter one, but at least he's established. And little do they know that there's 25 of them rolling up in that cul-de-sac.
Okay, so what do you do?
I don't know. I think you should just give up. The more I think about it, I think it's horrible out there.
You're talking about it. I'm like, yeah.
But I also think about my boys, because I'm like, I think it's hard and confusing for the younger generation of heterosexual boys coming up, because I think they're really intimidated and they don't know what to do and they are free to, ask girls out or say anything. I mean, also when guys screw up, there's just this army of like social media girls that will like put on blast that they have a crooked dick or like they were cheap or whatever, and their life is ruined. Or maybe even these guys that go on like a reality show, like the horrible Patrick who dated Stassi. Like, who the fuck wants to date that asshole ever again?
Literally
what
no
about
one.
Jason Hoppy? Who wants to date Jason Hoppy? That's Bethany Frankel's horrible ex-husband.
Oh, no one. Well, there's always going to be someone that's like, I can change him or something. There's always going to be that one girl, but probably
how hard to be around with your other girlfriends and bring the most like hated guy on social media. So then I feel hard for the girls that are on those shows, because I know many of them from doing this job, and I'm like, yeah, it's hard to find a guy that like is going to be on this show and be themselves and not have like the army of female fans rip them apart.
I mean, I see your point in regards that it has become a little intimidating for some guys out there, especially with all the movements and everything out there. Like, I see your point without, I mean, I feel like I have to tread carefully with anything I say about anything in life. So I'm like trying to not.
Well, it's the worst time in history to be a white straight male. Okay, and people, when I said that, they're like, "What? Just get what I'm saying. I am making a joke. I'm saying they're finally, it's finally evening the ground slightly. Okay,
yeah.
But at the same time, they're, they're, I think, very nervous too.
No, I completely understand, and I do think a lot of times, I think it has happened to me in the past or even recently where a guy does something that I don't like, or I feel like he is ignoring me or he doesn't like me that much, or right away I'll be like, you know what, bye, I don't need this, I'm better than this. And it's really because the guy was like maybe too scared to call me because he's intimidated at this point. He doesn't know how I'm gonna react, and like, you know what I mean? So I think maybe we're giving guys too much of the benefit of the doubt, that they're like overthinking everything, when in reality guys are very simple.
Right.
I don't know, I mean, but I agree with you.
Sometimes they are working. Sometimes they're actually busy and they cannot get right back to you. Have you ever thought about that?
No, I have no problem with people not getting back to me. I don't care about that. But like, okay, recently, like I was talking to this guy that I've been friends with. We dated and then we stayed friends. And then he told me he was coming to visit LA. And like, if he didn't tell me he was going to be in LA, like I wouldn't even know he was here, you know? Then he keeps trying to make an effort to see me. Okay, and he's like nice. Hitting me up nonstop. So we keep communicating. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to, and I was like, okay, fine. Like, when are we hanging out? Like, you know, I want to have sex with you.
Now, is this all texting, or are you actually speaking on a telephone, or do you not know how to do the telephone part?
I love FaceTime.
Okay.
He's afraid of FaceTime. He's kind of foreign, and like.
Oh, he is foreign.
Yeah. So when we text, sometimes we even text in our Slavic languages.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So anyway, we were like texting a lot, and we're having like our conversations were going really well, and then we make plans, and then one night it's like, oh, it didn't work out. The next night, like, I'm too tired. Then the next night it's like, okay, fine, like, this is it, like, we're hanging out. And I don't know what he was doing in LA, like, I didn't ask, because sometimes I don't ask because I don't want to be annoying, but then it seems like I come off as self-revolved.
Well, I think that's crazy. Someone's like, I'm coming to LA, and you're not like, oh, what for? Business? Do you have a grandma to visit? Like, you never asked why he was coming to LA?
I'm at the point in my life that I just don't know how to react with guys anymore, that I try not to pry, and then it comes off as if I'm not asking anything about them.
I think that's weird.
I agree.
I would have asked someone why they're coming to LA.
Well, I thought he was training in LA again. Like, I didn't know he was just coming for interviews or something. Is he some, like,
Israeli, like, martial arts delight?
No. But
close.
No, not at all. But I said Slavic languages. That's not Hebrew.
I don't know. I just thought like something like intense like that.
No, but I guess he was here for meetings. I thought he moved back here or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So he kept trying to like hang out, and I'm like, okay, the third night we're hanging out. So I'm like, okay, so what time do you think you'll come over tomorrow? Because I just bought a house and you want to come see it, and obviously we're gonna have sex too. That's why.
But you haven't had sex with him before.
We've dated before.
Oh, that's right.
We dated last year.
The ex. Okay.
And I haven't had sex since December, and it was just like, oh, perfect. Like,
okay.
I've already slept with him before. We get along so well. We're like literally perfect for each other. I can't wait to have sex with him. So, and we said that in the text messages too. I was like, I can't wait for my dick appointment. Anyway, I'm too much daddy sometimes. Okay, so anyway, so the next day, I'm like, when will you be here at my house tomorrow? And he goes, late afternoon. And I'm like, okay. I Google late afternoon because, you know, my English is so off sometimes. I'm like, when is late afternoon? I'm like, okay, so like the latest of late afternoon means like 5.
Yes.
So then the next day, it's like I wake up, I clean my whole house. My house is 2-story house right now, but like I'm a perfectionist, and I'm like, I want everything to be perfect.
Right.
I haven't seen him in so long. I clean my whole fucking 2-story house. Then I like shower, shave my whole body, put self-tanner on, put more self-tanner on, clean more. Oh my God, what should I wear?
And do like a nice lotion to cover the self-tanning smell.
Oh no, I love that smell, but...
What kind do you use?
I don't know, whatever people send me.
Oh, Jergens is amazing. Go on.
Oh, Jergens? No, like a real self-tanner.
Jergens is a self-tanner.
Is it?
Yes, it's the best.
Okay.
Because it's gradual, so you don't get any of that streaky shit.
Oh, no. Like, I like the one that you put on right away, and it tells you, like, okay, wait a few hours and then wash it off. I like the look before you wash it off. But, like, I can't touch anything because it stains everything. But it's fine. I've gotten used to it. Guys that date me, they've gotten used to it.
One time my friend got a spray tan, and then she went to this guy's house that she was boning, okay? And he had a girlfriend, and that's why she did it, to leave the evidence on the sheets so that the girlfriend would know that he was cheating on the girlfriend with her.
You know what's so funny? What she could have done? Just never actually fuck the guy because he has a girlfriend.
Exactly.
But wow, how brave of her. Good for her.
I just thought it was sort of like...
I'll still fuck him, but it's not good.
It reminded me of like the shroud of like Jesus Christ, where it's like you could see the shape of her. I just imagined like you could see the shape of her body on the sheet of this bad spray tan.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, guys don't even understand all the effort that you put in when you really want to see a guy and all that. And, you know, I'm not hitting him up. I'm, like, letting him do his thing while I'm literally my whole day revolved around like me seeing this guy, and he doesn't understand that. He has no idea, but that's just how my brain is, and I want everything to be perfect because I haven't seen him in so long. And so then I would say 5 p.m. rolls around, and I'm like, hey, when do you think you'll be coming? Hey, when do you think you'll be heading here? And then he goes, and mind you, we've been talking nonstop, like every day, and how much he wants to see me. And then he goes, oh, hey, I just finished training. He trains in Thousand Oaks, and he's like, I just finished.
Like physical training or training for some job?
Physical training.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if it was like, I just finished training to, be a medical assistant. I don't know what he's training for. Okay, go on.
Working out.
Okay,
so.
Working out.
So he's like, I'm heading back now. I think I'm going to grab dinner. He's like, I'm going to grab dinner with my, I was like, hey, I forgot. And he's like, I'm going to grab, okay. I just finished training. I'm heading back now. I'm probably going to grab dinner with my family. So maybe after. And then I look at the phone. I'm just like, because in my brain, I'm trying to be cool, but it's like my whole day was wasted. Like, I'm a busy girl. Like, I have a mortgage to pay. I just bought a house. So in my head, I'm just like, I just stare at the phone. I'm just like in shock. And I'm like, okay, V, be cool. You're not crazy anymore. Be cool. Because I'm telling myself, like, what is the outcome you want here? If you tell him to fuck off, you're not going to see him. So it's like, if you want the outcome to see him, be cool. So I'm like, LOL. Okay, cool. I have work to do, I guess. And then he's like, I said I'll see you after, LOL. And I was like, okay, for sure. And I'm just being nice. And then, so that was like 5:30, 6 rolls around, 7 rolls around, 8 something rolls around. And then it's like, I'm pretty sure it was like already 9 hits around. And then I see him, I checked Twitter. I checked my fake Instagram account, which I have, and he's like sitting there liking other girls' pictures who don't even live in Los Angeles.
So hold on. You created a fake Instagram account so that you can follow people and find out what's up when they don't know that you.
I have a fake Instagram account that only my closest friends follow me and my mother, and you post like half naked pictures of yourself or like pictures you don't want other people to ever see, and then you also use that account to stalk people that you don't want them to stalk. To know.
Okay, so you stalked him with a fake account, and what did you find out?
And I saw like the pictures of girls he's liking, because he just likes to like sit and like girls' pictures, which is fine. But it's like, if you can literally physically see a girl in front of you, or you can like a girl that like lives in Dubai.
But was he liking those during that span of time that he was supposed to be spending with you? Like, had he just liked it like that hour?
Yeah, I'm not hearing from him, and then it's like 2 seconds ago he's sitting and liking pictures, and then I check Twitter and he's like tweeting about a basketball game, because he plays basketball, so he's like watching the game, and I'm like,
oh my God.
Like checking my pulse, and I'm like, am I about to get crazy? And this is where I tell girls all the time, before you get crazy, reach out to a friend, talk to them, they'll calm you down, because you don't want to do anything impulsive. I don't listen to that.
Okay,
and I get impulsive, and then I was just like, all right, cool, so I guess you're not coming, right? Like, blah, blah, blah. And of course, like, the minute I went off, like, he just stopped responding. And I was so upset. I was just pissed off that whole night, because in my head, I was just like, I'm so fucking alone in this big house, and I can't believe, like, I wasted my whole day to see this guy. So, like, mind you, if he didn't tell me he was going to be in LA, I wouldn't even have guessed. Like, why'd you waste... And the thing is, I wasn't...
The flakiness is the most frustrating thing. Oh my God.
And guys don't get the fact that they think you're mad that you didn't see them. No, motherfucker, I'm mad that you wasted my time.
Yes.
Like, let me know you're not going to see me. That's it. That's why I was mad. He didn't let me know. He just, like, brushed it off, And the next day, I was like, okay, I have to be more, like, he's been my friend, blah, blah, like, in case... Because I always blame myself for overreacting. So I'm like, okay... I shouldn't have reacted so angrily, so I'll apologize, and I'll try to be civil. And I was like, hey, I just want you to understand that I really like talking to you, and, I've been enjoying conversations, and we've been friends for a while, and I just wanted to see you last night, and it kind of hurt my feelings when you just didn't even want to, like, let me know that you're not coming, or blah, blah. And you're just like, oh my God, I was in LA for business just for the weekend. Like, I was so busy. When I come back for training, like, we're going to hang out as much as you want. Like, geez, relax. Why do you always have to be such a baby about everything?
This is what I don't get, okay?
After I like you,
is this a
you're
matter
so great.
of truly the way this person was raised? Is this a guy thing? Because
or maybe
like, I'm raising
miscommunication because he's foreign.
I don't know if it's about the foreign thing. I mean, like, I'm raising my kids like, this is the plan. You're not late. You said you're going to meet your friend. Like, I've raised my kids to be like that. So I don't see how that, then you've made plans. Why wouldn't he just like at 5 o'clock be like, it's not going to work out. I'm going to do this dinner. If you can meet at 8, I'd still like to meet you at 8. I hope you understand. What is that? That's not a foreign thing.
And the reason I got upset is because it's like not, it's been a pattern recently that guys have done that to me. I don't want to say because like, I don't, he made a joke before about my podcast and then told me like, oh shit, does he listen to my podcast? So like, I don't want to then to know I'm also talking about it here. He just hurt my feelings.
Talk to him if he's listening. When you make a plan, it's a plan. Okay, communicate. If it's going to change, you tell the person, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. Do you mind if I do this lame dinner with this business guy and I come over at 7 o'clock with a bottle of wine? I'm sorry. I know it was supposed to be 5 o'clock. Would have been great, you know? Back in my old-fashioned days, I had an all-day cleaning Sunday waiting for some fresh dick that never arrived.
Okay.
I had 2 roommates in this apartment in Brentwood, and we didn't have a maid. I mean, there was a lot of cleaning to do, and he was a neat freak, so I knew I had to really clean it, okay? Cleaning all day long. Now he calls me. It was going to be like 4 o'clock. Now it's like, oh my God, I'm still surfing. I'll be there like 6 o'clock or something. Then it was like, oh, I think I'm just going to get something. Like I thought we were going to go to dinner. Now he's going to eat dinner before. Now I was all about the meal.
Literally
all
me
about
right now
the meal.
too, yeah.
So I was like, now we're not even going to dinner. Like now you're going to like eat some gross burrito. And then by like the 7 o'clock thing, I did get bitchy. I was like, what the hell? Like, you said it was this, and then he's like, you know what? I don't even think I want to see you tonight. And then I backtracked and begged like a loser. Because they flip
it on you. He flipped
and I was like,
on
no,
you
no, I'll come over to your place. I don't want to end things like this or to have this happen.
And now he's your husband.
No, it's not. No, he's not. No, he's not my husband. It did not work out. But I mean, just the disappointment of being so excited and liking someone, and they took your whole day.
You had to give guys the benefit of the doubt now, right?
No,
here.
no, like, not with that flakiness.
Okay.
I'm saying sometimes when you're already in the relationship.
Oh, got it.
And there's like, you know, a miscommunication, a gift that's not up to par, things that like maybe you didn't communicate properly. You know, I think girls more often, whether you're dating or married with 3 kids, I tell women you have to tell your dude, hey, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. I'd like each kid to write me a card. I'd like you to be a delight all day. I'd like to I made the reservations. Everyone's going to be dressed and not complain. Like, you got to say what you want, and then most likely it'll work out. But, like, you know, or say, this is the exact handbag I want. You take a photo of it.
No, I agree with
those type of
and
things.
All that,
Otherwise, you'll be bummed about it.
But then behavior like this, like
no,
flakiness,
behavior like this,
especially
flakiness is horrible.
Like, we've dated before, and we've been friends this past year. We've constantly communicated. So, like, that hurt my feelings because it made me feel like he treated me like some random girl.
Now, I am going to say, I think this one needs to be kicked to the curb. I think we need to get
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Because thanks for agreeing with me.
Because you already dated him and it didn't work out. Now you're you're recycling dick, and you know what? No. Now you're just like horny and you wanted a familiar, and I get it. But in the end, it wasn't worth it because you put all this effort. I mean, you did get a clean house out of it.
That is true. It was nice to finally clean it.
You got hurt in it.
And like
you got disappointed.
My mom encouraged me at first to see him because she's like fond of him, and she's like, because he's like a kid. He's younger than me, and he's 24. And
how old are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh, you look great.
I know. Thanks.
Little baby face. Go on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you thought I was younger, right?
I mean, I definitely didn't think you were over 30. I thought you were more like 25.
Thanks. Yeah, that's usually what people think. Anyway, so my mom was encouraging me, have fun, seeing you've been so stressed lately. So she thought it'd be good for me. But then he just completely let me down. So when I told her, she was like, all right, when and my mom's very honest. It's just like a Russian thing. She's just, if he wanted to see you, he would see you. Obviously, he didn't care to see you. So, and I was like, oh, Mom, but maybe like, if she's like, no excuses. Like, he would have made an effort. He didn't care. And I was like,
the
okay.
guy that likes you, he will do anything. He will come over when he needs you. If something's broken, he wants to fix it. They want to be useful. When you're like last on the totem pole, when you are that booty call, it's never going to change. Once you start at level 4, you're never going to jump up to level 1.
Well, no, I wasn't ever.
Not that you were. Not that you were. I'm doing a whole nother scenario.
Got it.
I'm saying with girls that are there, like, you know, only in a movie
I wanted to have sex
do
with
you
them.
raise the ladder.
Yeah.
Like, so it's fine if you see it as that, it's fine. But I think it's hard then thinking that it might become something more. It has to start out kind of right, and then you have to set the precedent of
we dated last year, and I wasn't also trying to date him right now. Like, I never really fully wanted to date the guy. He's younger than me, and we're just very different.
Yes.
And like mentally, he's even younger than 24 because of what he does for a living. These guys are just very like young and mentally.
Yeah.
Basketball players.
What?
And anyway, so then he kept trying to like make jokes in the text or whatever. I think he was trying to like brush it off because all we do is joke around in the text. So I think like when he first called me a child and got angry at me, just like your dude got angry at you, it's like a reverse psychology thing where a guy or a woman, when you know you're wrong, the instead of apologizing because you don't want to deal with it, you get angry and you're like, why the fuck is this person mad at me? And then you're like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And it's almost to like make you then think you did something wrong. And that's what that guy did to you. That's what my ex used to do to me. My ex would cheat on me all the time. And then I would get upset with. And
how would you find out he was cheating?
Towards the end. I always I wasn't sure. And then he would twist it and he'd be like, I'd be like, are you cheating on me? I feel like there's something off. And he'd be like, you know what? For you to even think that I would ever cheat on you, like, but if we don't have trust, we don't have anything. And the fact that you would say something like that just shows that, why are we even together? And I'll be like, you're right. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I shouldn't have said anything. Like, we do have trust. You know what? I'm going to need a few days for myself. I'm going to go to Vegas and I'm just going to like
blow off some steam. I mean, you upset him so much. You know what is so funny? I have this friend and she was, she and her boyfriend were together a long time and she did catch him cheating. And then she needed like a favor from him like a year later, like this video thing that she needed. And she's like, God, he's like not calling me back. And he's getting all annoyed that I'm even reaching out to ask for this thing. And she's like, maybe I should just write, hey, look, I apologize again for catching you cheating. I know it was my fault that I came home 12 minutes early and caught you. I'm a horrible person for walking into my own home and finding you with your girlfriend that I didn't know about. But can I have this video thing? Like, it's so true. It's like, why are you mad at me? Like, what? I'm sorry that...
It's because there's like the saying that my dad told me. I don't know if I fully remember it, but it's something about when someone does something for you. If I help you with something or do something for you, I love you more. So because it makes me feel good about myself, it makes me feel good about who I am as a person. But if I hurt you, a lot of times when someone hurts you, they hate you. And it's because whenever I see you then, I have to like think about that time that I hurt you. And it makes me feel like a terrible person.
So you want to cut them out of your life.
So like, yeah, I don't want to think about me being that person to you. And that's really what it is.
That's very good.
I like.
Wait, now you.
I don't have time to have sex, so I'm just like researching about
daddy issues, or is that just a fun expression?
No, I do. I have.
What's your deal with your dad? Are your parents still married?
Yes, my parents are together. My daddy issues, which I don't really feel like talking about, but
okay.
But like, I mean, I've wrote about it before because people ask me. It's when I made that account, daddy issues. I didn't put much thought into it, but it was me having daddy issues. It's because when I was growing up in Israel, my father traveled for work, so he would be home only 4 times of the year. So I barely saw him, and it was hard, well, that was the life, so I didn't know any better. So we didn't have like a relationship, and then we won the green card lottery when I was 14, and we moved to the U.S. Well, when I was 13, and then when I was 14, moved to the U.S. And that was the first time I have finally lived with my father under one roof, and it was really hard. Like it was 2 people meeting for the first time,
and at such a vulnerable age of 14.
And I'm in a new country, and he's in a new country. We're all stressed out. Like at one point, like. It took forever for my dad to find a job. It took forever for my dad to like come back up again. So it's like the stress of the family with losing money and figuring life out in a new country, and also a girl that's going through puberty while also trying to learn English and dealing with some dude living in her house now that keeps telling her what to do. Like we just clashed.
Yes.
We wouldn't get along. And plus, my father's very Russian. The way he grew up is different than the way I was growing up.
Right.
So he's very strict. So, like, his love focused more on making sure I get good grades. And his love is tough love, which I think I am like that now with friends subconsciously. But it's more putting me down in order for me to do better. But instead, putting me down would just make me, like, if he's telling me I'm really stupid at school, like, I'm just going to not care at school. I'm going to avoid it versus me trying to prove him right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and we never said I love you. We would never hug or anything. Like, the first time I realized I had daddy, quote unquote, daddy issues is when my friend Kylie, who, your cousin, I'm friend's cousin.
Yeah.
We became friends, I think, when I was like 15 or 16. And I was hanging out at her house, and we're sitting, and then her dad comes in the room with us, which was already weird to me because my dad was very conservative, that if, let's say, my dad's in the living room and me and my friends walk in, my dad would just silently get up and walk away because he feels uncomfortable to even be around, like, us, me and my friends.
Okay.
We're just like, it's inappropriate. We're like young girls. He doesn't want to be around my friends. It's weird for him.
Okay.
So, like, her dad, Kylie's dad, walks in the room, and she asks him for advice, and then he, like, gives her the advice, and I'm just, like, watching, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck? Like, because I didn't know, because I thought mine was normal. So she gives him advice, and then she's like, okay, thanks, Dad, love you. And he's like, love you too. And they give each other a kiss on the cheek, and they hug. And I was just like, did I just dream this? I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I was like, wait, you guys do that all the time?
But were you watching, like, American sitcoms or anything and thinking that was strange? Like,
I was weirded out, yeah. So when he walked out, I was like, wait, do you guys do that all the time? And she's like, do what? And I was like, do you guys talk a lot? She's like, yeah. And like, it's so sad, but it's so hilarious now, I know. And I was like, do you guys, like, do you say I love you all the time? She goes, yeah, what do you mean? Like just like nonchalantly? I'm like, and you just hug him? Like, it just like that? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how my dad would react if I tried to hug him. That's so weird. And like, I think that was the beginning years later of me understanding, like, oh shit, that's not normal. Oh, okay.
But there's a lot of circumstances, like you said, like a cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing.
And being an immigrant and family, and the fact that he wasn't, at your house having dinner every night like Kylie's dad probably was. And that relationship, was established. And it is, a father-daughter relationship is very hard. And it can be the closest, but it also can be awkward and weird, and especially the teenage years. And I was close to my dad, but also, like, he terrified the shit out of me, but then he was also really fun, and I just was, like, forgiving of the fact that he could, like, yell and scare me because the underlying thing was I knew that he ridiculously, like, adored me, like, thought I was, like, could do no wrong, and I walked around life like that. And my friend, who had a more difficult relationship with her dad, the teenagers, they're close now, but she said, I oftentimes bring you up in therapy because she's like, the fact that your parents, gave you such unconditional love and everything I did was amazing, it really does shape who you are. Some people strive for more. I'm like, but also being a comedian, I didn't come from a family of doctors. The bar was set low. So they were very excited to go to the Improv and see me. But if everybody in my family was a doctor and they were all Russian doctors, maybe what I would be doing would be like a big loser disappointment. I don't know. So it's like everybody's circumstances and situations is different. There's no way to say how someone's going to, come out of their childhood for better or worse. Well, sometimes kids are too spoiled and they're too loved and they don't try, so you never know.
I mean, I did get love from my mother. Like, my mother is the sweetest person ever, but I think it's the weirdest thing, looking back at it now, that my mom was so sweet, so caring, so loving, and she didn't grow up with a mother, so she always tried to be the best mother to me and my sister. No matter what, she was just so soft and sweet. But because I looked up to my dad and I needed that validation that he wasn't giving me, I looked at my mother as someone that was weak because she would cry and she would show emotions. And I look at my dad as, like, so strong because all I see is specific emotions where it's like, you need to do better, and then, like, never, no sadness. Like, I think I saw my dad one time growing up. I heard my dad cry once, and that was when his mother passed away, and I think he was crying in the bathroom, and that was, like, a shock to me,
Yes, I remember, like, the one time my dad cried too, and we were all, like, freaking out. Yeah.
But I think, like, the thing is, the way I am as a person, and especially with what I do for a living, with who I try to help other people, is that I don't look back now and I blame all my problems on, well, because my dad didn't hug me or say I love you growing up, and this is why I'm an asshole, and this is why I'm going to act like an asshole to other people. It's like, no, I think eventually in your life, you hit a point where you're like, okay, this happened to me. How do I learn from this, and how do I become a better person? And I think that's kind of what happened with me. And at one point, I used to be an accountant as I was starting Daddy Issues. And I think, like, when I got confidence from Daddy Issues, suddenly
by doing the Instagram that became so popular. You started doing that just like for a fun thing while you had a full-time job. Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, my parents wouldn't allow me to, like, hey, Mom, Dad, I think I'm going to, like, post some memes on Instagram. Can I quit my job and can you pay my rent? I'd be like, what? No. You know, because everyone has second degrees in my family. Uh-huh. Well, except me now, because I didn't finish my CPA exams.
Okay.
But anyway, so when I started Daddy Issues and I was gaining confidence and finding who I am, suddenly I felt accepted. And once I felt accepted, something changed in me, and I wasn't scared of, in a way, of rejection from my father. Like, I think the more I became comfortable in my own skin, like, I wasn't scared anymore. Because I used to never say I love you back to I used to never say I love you or, like, try to hug him, my dad or whatever, because I was scared he would reject me, you know? But then, like, once I like, you know, found myself and got comfortable with myself, I'm like, who cares? Like, I still want him to know that I feel this way. Like, who cares if he doesn't say it back? Like, it's still nice to hear it. And then, to my surprise, I think my whole family, with me having this type of point of view, I think I helped my whole family become a little softer, where we all say I love you to each other all the time now.
So you, like, like a few years ago, you just started going, like, I love you, Dad, and, like, hugging him, like, after a lunch, and you just were like, I'm doing it, and I'm just going to break this weirdness?
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah.
Like, I think, like, the first time we said I love you to each, or, because we would say I love you to each other, but it would be, like, once a year on a birthday card. Mm-hmm. So, like, it would be weird to actually verbally hear it. Like, I don't think if you would say it face to face, we would just both be frozen. Mm-hmm. But, and again, it's funny because my experience with my father is a little different than my sister's experience with my father.
How old is your sister? Younger or older?
2 years older than me, but she was, like, the smarter child.
Okay.
So she's always, like, growing up, she'd always be like, why do you care if Dad likes it or not? Like, who cares? Why do you need the validation? You're so weird. But, like, for me, it's like, I always care. Like, I want to always be beautiful for my dad. Like, I want to.
But I bet, you know what I think? I think what I think with kids, and sometimes the way it works is, along with you might have your mom's eyes or whatever. Yeah. You know, the same thing goes with personality traits. And sometimes there's a child that either has a personality that's so much like yours that you get along great, or so much like yours that you know, combat. And with my sisters and I, my mom and I were so much alike. And my mom was, you know, very funny and would say things. And she would hurt my sister's feelings more than she could ever hurt mine, because I was sort of like her. And I kind of got it, like, inherently got that it was a joke and that it shouldn't be taken seriously and you shouldn't read into it. And so I bet your sister actually had more personality traits of your dad's, and that's why it didn't really bother her. Like, she got it inherently. She didn't know why, but she got why it didn't bother you. I think she just
cared less, maybe because she was getting a lot more positive feedback from him. So then
possibly, I mean, it's just everybody. It's like every child has a different experience, and and that's why birth order to me is so interesting too, because it's always like, wait a minute, we were raised in the same house, but even you just being the second child, and it's just a totally different experience than the way they treated her, and then you had this friend that was always there, and that gave you a different perspective as being the kid. So it's like, there's just no reason about it. It's just, but it's cool that you keep discovering more about it. And
I think so too. Like, I'm very happy for myself that I was able to turn this into a positive thing, and, like, me learning from it. And, like, my whole family, like, we do say I love you to each other. I mean, obviously I love my dad to death and I would do anything for him, but do we have a lot in common? Like, I would say no. And I feel guilty when he calls me and he talks really slow. And I can get annoyed when he talks slow, because he'd be like, in Russian, he'd be like, and I think that maybe if we went, I was like, Dad, like, oh my God, just get to the point, fuck. And then I feel terrible about that, because I should be so thankful that we're communicating. But then I'm like, oh my God, can you send me an email about it, like, or something? Because this is like killing me.
Yeah.
So we don't have that much in common, but we like love each other and we hug and we kiss on the cheek and we say I love you and we communicate more. And I would have never imagined we would even have this relationship if you would have went back to me as a 16-year-old who thought that once she moves out, she will never speak to her father again.
Right.
So I love that. And when I've gotten emails before from fans asking for advice, and they'll be like, well, I think I'm this and this and this happened to me, and I think that's why I don't want to graduate college, or I don't have time for this because my father did this and then my boyfriend cheated on me, and blah, blah. And I'm like, stop. I'm like, your circumstances are not who you are as a person. Like, you can rise above it.
Exactly.
And that's my point of view. Like, it's okay. Maybe because I'm foreign and I'm an immigrant, so I don't have I'm not saying everyone has a victim mentality, not at all, but like, I don't have that mentality. So it's more like, this happened to me. Okay, how do I change it? How do I change my circumstances if I don't like where I'm at? Or how do I make it better? Or how do I learn from it?
Well, I mean, definitely an immigrant's journey is completely different from someone that had the luxury of being born here. Like, I'm fascinated by it. I admire it, how hard it is. So, oftentimes you're almost going to, have a different appreciation. You're going to work harder. You're going to have to be tougher because you had to be.
Right.
So, it's just, so I definitely think that affects your point of view in life.
I think like a lot of my friends who have been born in the U.S. and they had like easier lives. I'm not saying my life wasn't always ever easy. Of course, like people have.
It's just a totally different journey that we cannot relate to.
But I think as I'm getting older, I'm learning to become softer and soften up. While I think my friends, as they're getting older, they're learning to harden up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to not be as sensitive or whatever. So it's funny how we're both trying to do the completely like opposite things.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you started to do the daddy issues, what made you think to just do an account that was just like funny jokes and memes? And how did you create most of them, or were you finding them and reposting and giving them credit, and like what was the theme of it? How did you kind of realize that you were onto something?
Well, when I first started Daddy Issues, it was literally just for my self-esteem. I was very depressed, and because when I became and I've talked about it before, so whenever I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about it because I don't know if people are going to get bored because I heard it before, but I forget that.
Don't worry, just tell your story.
But to try to make it quick in some ways, that when I was my goal, I really wanted to be a partner at the accounting firm. I was working at a public accounting firm. My goal was to be a partner, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was very focused on it. And a lot of times when I'm very focused on whatever I'm doing, I have tunnel vision, and I don't notice anyone else around me because it's like I have a goal, and that's what I want to achieve. And there was still like, and I built a good relationship with a partner and everything, and that was my job. And unfortunately, the women in my team were not loving it as much, that I was like having a good relationship with the partner as my mentor, and that I wasn't taking all the steps, like, because there's steps to even get there, there's a hierarchy.
Right.
And I think irritated them, or my looks irritated them. I'm not sure what it was, but they like started to get pretty nasty with me all the time.
Yeah,
and it got to the point.
Women.
Yeah, I got to the point that HR would have to get involved, because one time one of them was like yelling at me really hard at like a boarding room, telling me that like I need to get bullied and I need to take it because that's how it is. Like in high school, when a senior bullies a freshman when they first walk in, and like you don't fucking go to the principal.
This is a female executive. But
manager.
That's the truth. I mean,
yeah.
With all this Me Too stuff, I mean, what I found really interesting is how many women came out and said, can I just say the women that I've worked with were a million times worse than the men. Like, they're jealous. They are, oftentimes, many women don't have the attitude of lifting up other women. They see it, it's either going to be her or me. There can only be one of us, so let me knock this bitch down. Or they see a woman that's kind of coming up the ranks that's maybe them, but they're 10 years younger, and they're almost jealous of the fact that they have hope in their life, and this person's miserable, and maybe they're miserable in the marriage, maybe they're not married, and here this young girl has like her whole life ahead of her, and she's excited, and they want to like knock her down instead of being like, oh my God, it's a little junior me, let me rise her up. And then they don't want, or they won't hire women, they'd rather hire men, or they'd rather hire a gay man. than a female because the female is there's too easy to be jealous of someone, to be jealous of another female. They're not going to be jealous of a straight or a gay man, but they will be jealous of another female, and that's why they don't empower or hire women the way we should, and that's why we are where we are today.
I think it's so hard to, like, for women in general in the workplace. I mean, like, even in my public accounting firm, I forget the percentage of female partners there, but it was like 5%, maybe 10% max, but I doubt it was 10%. So I understand how hard it is for a woman to even come up in that. But and I think that what happens is that these women work so hard to get up that they kind of lose a sense of hope and being friendly and all that, because they work so hard and they had to be kind of more, not bitchy, but more of a boss vibe. So then instead of bringing other women up, they're like, no, bitch, you better go through everything I went through.
Right, like, which is exactly there's a reason why hazing stopped in the sorority. Like, and then that bitch wants to bring it back. You're like, no, it was weird. Yeah. We evolved. You know, we're not cavemen anymore. Like, that's not cool. There's a different way to do it. It's like, what, are you going to go back to hitting your kids? It's been proven that's not a great way to raise your children. Like, no. Yeah. You know, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and anyway.
Okay, so you said you're getting a lot of heat at the work, and so
I mean, it was insane. Like, even women who weren't in my office would like try to start a rumor about me. It was like it was honestly so crazy. But I kept, and the thing is, I think when if you're unhappy, you want to come after someone, and it doesn't matter how many struggles they have or what's wrong with them. You only see what you want to see. So they focus on specific things about me to make them not like me. Whatever. I mean, they would make comments like, oh, the door's closed. She's with the partner, the door's closed. Like, what are they doing there? It's like, bitch, all the walls are windows. You can literally see what we're doing. Right. Like, it's not like you don't, like, what? And I wouldn't wear makeup to work. I would wear, like, larger clothes, because even if my skirt was, like, down to my knee, they would be like, this is why I can't take you anywhere with me to clients, because, like, your skirt is a little bit above your knee, and that's, like, inappropriate, blah, blah, like, anything. So I would wear, like, longer clothes. And I wouldn't wear makeup, so I wouldn't, like, I'm trying to blend in. Like, it's not my fault that I'm just taller than...
And curvy, and, yeah, you're, like, a very pretty girl. But
Thank you, but I never cared about that. Like,
yeah, but what are you going to do? Like, that's the body you have, you know? I remember I think it was either a casting director or an executive, like a producer. After my first writing job was writing on the Keenan Ivory Wayans show, okay, and I was 27, and I got that job, and after that job ended, I went on some meeting, and this female goes, so you were a writer on the Keenan Ivory Wayans show? And I go, yeah, and she goes, whose dick did you have to suck to get that job? And I was like...
You're like, first of all, your husband's. Second of all...
But I was, and she wasn't, like, she was being brash, but she wasn't totally joking. She was just like, how did you get that? And I'm like, well, I wrote a bunch of jokes, and my agent submitted it, and then I met him, and I think he was looking for a female voice on the staff, so being a female did help me get the job, but it wasn't like, he wasn't attracted to my flat ass. Let me tell you, I was not the Keenan Ivory Wayans type, like, whatever. But it was just, I remember it was just shocking, like, and I remember I met with this other producer, and this was kind of a good one. It was a blind date that this girl, Jennifer Coolidge, the actress Jennifer Coolidge, set me up with this guy who was producer. She's like, I think you guys are really hit it off. He's producer of the show, and we meet, and I could tell he was like not into me, and I really wasn't into him. So right off the bat, he's like, so tell me some funny, who are some funny guy writers you know that I could hire? And I go, well, I'm a writer. And he goes, I know, but who are the funny guys? Jeez. I was like, not only do you not like me sexually, but like you also aren't giving me a chance as a comedian. I put up with it. I was like, okay. And then when I called her back to tell her then she called me back the next day. And it was just like an agent, like telling you didn't get the part. She's like, so I talked to Joel, and he's going to go in a different direction. Like, I was like, oh my God, never set me up with another producer. I don't care unless it really is for a job. It's crazy, though.
I mean, it is funny. I feel like us millennials and Generation Z, we are, and whatever other generations are, we are so, and I'll get back to my story in a second, but we're so self-revolved, and we think, like, I can't explain, but we all think that our struggles are the biggest ones. And it's so interesting to me when I hear someone that, like, you know, earned it, and the harder times, because we're all like right now we're doing the Me Too movement and all that, and that's great, but like I think sometimes we forget that not our elderlies, I don't mean to call you that, but like people that have been in this business longer, especially women, like how much more they probably had to go through than we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, because when, like right now, this is really hard for me, but it's like, yeah, that sucks. But
then I also feel like my generation, because we didn't have the powerful attitude that the younger girls did of like, fuck this isn't fair. We put up with it. We put up with the old fart, the dirty old fart.
So everything's your fault.
Making a sexual, to an extent, I do feel like, we put up with it. So it continued to an extent, because that was the way we were taught. And it was like, we'd see the old man, making a sexual joke, and we felt bad and embarrassed for him. So instead of calling him out because he's an old white man, we would go, okay, yeah, and we would continue, just let me get through with my day. I know I'm smart. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And it kind of took us, and then seeing younger girls that are just like, no, I'm not going to put up with this. And they called it out. So I like commend the attitude and the confidence. And I think it's great, and I think but I do say, yeah, we put up with too fucking much. That's why you guys had to break the mold, because we, and we put up less than the generation before us, and it like went like that. Mm-hmm. So it is evening out, and I think it's really great. And I love the attitude. There was this really funny scene in this movie called Wine Country that I just saw on Netflix.
I think I just watched it.
Okay, did you see when they go to the art? They go to the art show,
and
all those girls are there, and then they're like, you guys, you think you have confidence, you think you're so great. I tried to do a poetry reading and some guy said you suck, and guess what? I believed him, and I never got up there again. But you guys think you're all so great, and your mom is your best friend. And then Maya Rudolph's character goes, well, I do like that part about them. Like, it's true. Like, I think that's so, I do think there's a way that, we're parenting our children, and the millennials parents parent them, that there's some really wonderful things, that there's a closeness there that didn't exist with other generations, because those generations were raised differently. So it's like, I think there's so many great things, and I think there's so many businesses that have been created by millennials because they are sharers. I mean, Uber is sharing, Airbnb is sharing. It's a generation of like, it's a generation of like, let's share, let's not waste. Yeah. Someone's got 3 hours. Guess what? They can drive you around. Yeah. Like, I think it's amazing. So I hate when people rip on it. Also, it makes you sound like an old fucking fart. Well, all these millennials. Well, shut up. I'm a millennial too.
Anyway, so they made my life miserable to the point that I would like sit and I'm a pretty tough person. So to break me, like, you really have to break me, and they like really broke me down. And I wouldn't talk to anyone about it, and I just got so depressed. And I would I remember every morning I would have like, for 20 minutes, I would come 20 minutes early before I was supposed to come in so I can cry in my car.
Oh, the crying.
I would just cry in my car.
Nothing like crying at an office in a parking lot by yourself.
Yeah, then I would like clean myself up, and it's like, all right, let's go. Like, one time I even like was in the bathroom, and they didn't realize I was on the toilet, and they were talking shit about me. And then I'm like,
what were they saying?
Just like how terrible I am or whatever. And I'm just like, and how they're not going to invite me to something. And I'm just sitting there in my head, I'm like, should I go open the door and show them I'm here? And I'm like, no, they won't even care. I mean, one time they even talked badly about me, and they accidentally forwarded me an email that they talked badly about me. And I was like, come on, guys, try harder. Like, come on. Like, that's really how you feel about me now? You don't even care for me to see it? Because they were all like, everyone freaked out. But it was funny. At one point, I think I started to laugh at it once I became Daddy Issues. Because Daddy Issues was anonymous, and these assholes would follow Daddy Issues, talk about how funny it is, and then hate me. And it was like, I wanted to be like, you got, like, hello, like, if you like my jokes, like, maybe you like me too, like, whatever,
So when did you decide not to be anonymous anymore?
Only, I think, maybe 2 years after I became Daddy Issues, and I've been doing Daddy Issues for almost 5 years now. And I quit my job 9 months after I became Daddy Issues.
Did you have an amazing quit story, or no?
Well,
like a fantasy of just like, see you motherfuckers! Like, remember that one?
I wanted to
that
do
one
that.
flight attendant years ago that quit, and he opened up the door and he put down the slide, and he was like, I'm fucking out of here! And he went down the slide.
My exit story is more like The Office. Have you ever seen that movie?
The movie The Office. Oh, God, I kind of remember it, but go on, yeah.
I love The Office, but no, the movie The Office, it's more like that. Like, so Daddy Issues started, I was doing it more for fun, and I was slowly just figuring out it was all based on what people like. That's what people don't realize. It was like, I posted a meme, like 2 or 3 memes I randomly found that I didn't make, and I was just looking at the engagements. I'm like, oh, this meme gets more likes or more comments. Interesting. And then I wrote, like, my caption was 1 line, but someone was like, oh my God, her caption is better than the meme. And I'm like, oh, people like captions? Interesting. I'm like, I love writing. I love talking, hands right now. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, a full sentence now, or 2 sentences. People like my captions more. Suddenly my captions are longer. And then I noticed it's more about, like, dating or whatever. Oh, this is what people like, or sex. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I go into that. Then I'm like, okay, how do I get, like, cool followers? I'm like, all right, LA has a bunch of those. People are so self-revolved, but also insecure deep down. So if I just get their, like, ringleader to follow me, the rest of them will follow, because that's just how it is. Like, that's the truth. It's like there's a bunch of sheeps, and they all follow each other. That's just how life is, and I'm not gonna lie, that's the truth. And so I was like, okay, I tackle one group, like, I follow all these cool kids. Maybe one of them was on a TV show before, and I kind of know them. Yeah. So I follow all of them from Daddy Issues. They all start talking between them who I am, and then they all start to follow, because it's a joke, inside joke now, because they're like, wait, are you Daddy Issues? Where are you Daddy Issues? It's like, no, motherfucker, I'm Daddy Issues. That's fine. Okay, I finished that group, unfollow them. Okay, next. I'm like, okay, I want a celebrity to follow me. What should I do? I'm like, all right, like, let's say Joe Jonas. He was the first celebrity to follow me. I'm like, okay, who are his best friends who don't have a lot of followers? Okay, this guy's his best friend. He only has like 5,000 followers. Let me write weird shit on his page and get his attention. Eventually, he starts tagging Joe in my memes, and then Joe follows me. So, like, that was how my brain was working, and I think it has to do with me because I moved 3 countries, and I always really wanted to fit in and become popular, and I would always think in my head, to avoid being bullied, it was always thinking in my head, like, strategies, how to be people, for them to be my friends. And then I took that brain and I put it into social media. So it's a lot more, because I love math. So for me, it was like a lot more of a weirdly numbers game.
Right, your math brain worked well with that.
And that's how I got, like, and it was never...
You figured it out.
Yeah.
The algorithm, you figured out a plan that worked.
Yeah, and well. Now it wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. Back then it worked. It was the right timing for me. Now it's like there's a lot of meme accounts and all that, but I am one of the, even though I'm one of the OG accounts, even though technically I've been as a meme account way less time than everyone else. Everyone else is like 8 to 10 years, and I'm like 4.5. Mm-hmm. But I am one of the OG accounts, so that's why if I want to make a meme, like, and it was a little unique back then because it was very female-based oriented type of account. Yeah. So it helped me. It helped shape who I am. Like, these people who were following me, tagging their friends, gave me confidence. And I was slowly finding myself, because at the beginning I was just posting things that made me feel insecure. Mm-hmm. And then someone would tag their friend and be like, oh, that's so me. And I'm like, oh, shit, really? So, and I've said this before, that's the weirdest thing. The fans of Daddy Issues in the beginning helped me come out of depression, and they helped me find confidence, and they helped me feel okay with being myself. And then and they shaped me into Daddy Issues. They, like, literally shaped me like a Mr. Potato Head. They put it together and they created me just based on what I've noticed, what people like. And then I became this Daddy Issues character because at first when I did Daddy Issues, I wrote about her because I thought, like, this girl's really cool and she's not me because I'm not as confident as her. So I wrote a whole story about her. She was British. Her parents met.
Where did you put the story in? Like a book or a Tumblr or what?
Just like on my computer, to have. Yeah. And because I was like, just in case one day someone asks who she is. And it was like a whole story behind her. And then eventually our words started to collide, and she was like, oh wait, this girl is becoming me. Like, I'm becoming her now. And then my confidence came, and now I feel like in my life I've exceeded her. So she's my alter ego again because she's still like a little lost and a little more insecure, and I've passed it. But it's very cool to look at that. I forgot what my whole story was about.
Well, I said, when did you become not anonymous anymore?
Right. So anyway, a year later, I finally decided, quote unquote, to come out, and I decided to show my face. I just wanted to connect my face with my brand, and I'm happy I did. And yeah, it's been good ever since.
Do you follow Nori's Black Book?
No, what is
that? That's really funny. It started a while ago, and this girl acts like she's Northwest. So she'll take like photos, or she'll recap the episode, or like if Kim posts something and the two of them together, she'll like do it like this point of view of Northwest, of being like, I'm the firstborn, I'm the best, like stop making Saint a thing. Mom, like...
You know which other account is
good? It's really
good?
hilarious, but she's definitely anonymous. And I've even reached out to her and been like, anonymous. You're hilarious, would you, want to come on the show? And then she doesn't, so... Or he, whoever this person is.
It's probably, like, good timing. She probably is waiting. But, like, yeah, there's... Oh, I guess this account isn't anonymous, but there's also Kendall's twin brother. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you?
No, but I'll check that out, yeah.
He, like, pretends to be her twin brother, and that they keep forgetting about. And it's, like, the funniest thing. He, like, is really good at photoshopping, and he always photoshops, like, moments where Kendall is, like, doing something, and then he's, like, let's say she's, like, on a boat, like, posing, and then, like, he's about to fall off the boat, and a shark is about to bite him, and he's like, oh, my God, LOL, like, funny story. So, like, I went with the girls, like, swimming, and...
I love it.
And, like,
yeah, it's really clever.
Like, I accidentally felt like the shark bit my leg off, but don't worry, guys, I'm good. I'm in the hospital right now, and Kendall said she's going to see me when she comes back from Japan. Something like that, and it's, like, hilarious. But, so...
It's great. I mean, that's what's so great about today. There's so many different forms of entertainment and comedy that people can be creative in and people can enjoy. You know? So
as long as you do it for yourself, and I think you also are, like...
authentic about it.
I want to say original, but there's no such thing as original. Plus, like, I have a meme account, so I not everything I make is mine.
Right.
I'm fully aware of that, but it's too hard to do it all.
Do you always give credit, or do the people get mad if you don't?
I always give credit.
Isn't that kind of what happened to the Jew, the fat Jew? The fat Jew, that's his name. The fat Jew was like one of the first people to do that, and people didn't know that it wasn't his material. That was so long ago that people didn't know that.
That's insane that people wouldn't know that, but like I've seen my tweets that I've written or memes that I've created get stolen, and then my name gets taken out, and I always just try to say, like, you guys, there's a bigger picture here. The bigger picture is to be an entertainer in any type of way, and this shouldn't be your goal. Like, your goal should be something else.
But as a comedian,
you're right.
As a comedian, it's like if someone just did my joke on stage that I wrote, that I've done, that's like the ultimate crime.
You're right.
So I think because it's a new medium, people didn't really realize it, which is okay.
You're right about that.
There's also oftentimes, like Rosie O'Donnell said, the first time she did stand-up, she did some, I think it's she, so if I'm wrong, apologize. But other comedians have said, the first time they did stand-up, they were so innocent about it. They did their favorite comedians' bits that they heard their comedy album. Like, sometimes you just don't know. And then this being such a new thing, I think people didn't know. So now I think it is really great when people will give the credit or show the credit.
A lot of times it's like they give a credit to like another meme account or someone else that found it, because on the internet you just have no idea where it belongs to.
Originated from, yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes I also get annoyed, even though I know I'm not allowed to because I have a meme account. So when my actual organic jokes get stolen, I get annoyed. Like the other day, my friend posted like a caption, and her caption was an old tweet of mine, and I was like, that's mine. But then I have to know the bigger picture and the bullshit that I spew about. It's all about just making people happy. It's not about
I think sometimes
so focus on that.
Sometimes it can make you crazy. And early in my career, someone would be like, "Oh my God, your whole bit was just on Friends." Like,
well, that sucks.
That type of thing. And I was like, well, who knows if it's true or not? There's no way for me to prove it. And all I can tell myself to just keep me going and not get insane is that it's not like I'm an inventor of one thing that someone stole the patent of.
True.
I do many different things. I can always create something new. And I think that's the only way a creator cannot make themselves insane, because in this world, people are going to grab your stuff. They may get the credit and you may not. Someone might call them on it and be like, that's Violet's shit, you loser. But other times they may not, and you may see it and you're like, oh, well, at least some people know I did it first. Whatever,
but the fat Jewish, I think the reason he got in trouble is because he was stealing a lot of actual real comedian tweets versus like regular people that just wrote something that got popular.
Right.
I think that was the difference, because at first I also didn't understand. I was confused about it. So I think he like pissed off the wrong people. But in general, like everyone curates, or whatever that word is, everything. Like you take a
It's the hot new word.
Curate?
Yeah.
I can't pronounce
it.
It,
It's a curated.
Curated.
Oh, we've got a curated line of.
Yeah.
Charcuterie.
Or like you take a picture of this chair and then eventually it's gonna be like on someone's Instagram page. You're not. What are you gonna do? Like
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, hey, I took that picture. Like no one knows anymore.
What about doing the watermark? How you do the little your name?
That helps.
I've done that we've been starting to do that with these photos because I do these like Barbie reenactments and I'm creating the Barbies and I'm working so hard on it and I'm like, if we're gonna post a photo, I'm just gonna put it there just so people know, that I did it.
But I've never, like, when I posted something and then I didn't credit the right person, it's never been on purpose. And I think because we're all self-revolved, someone's like, F you, you're trying to steal this from me. But it's like, no, I'll be honest with you, your one tweet isn't going to, like, help you quit your day job. I'm sure it can help. I'm not saying this is not from a comedian. He's not a comedian or anything. But it's never malicious. To be honest, most of the time I'm so busy, I'm not even thinking a lot of the time when I post. I mean, now I'm like, should any of this be in here? Because I'm embarrassed that I'm admitting this. But I know the feeling because I do have things that I create myself and then it gets stolen and my watermark gets removed too.
Oh, they'll just cut the bottom off.
Yeah, and I've just learned to just not take it personally because I'm like, I have to just to tell myself I have a meme account, so I'm a hypocrite if I get upset, but I just, like I said, like, okay, I'll create something new then, like new content. Like that's, But I can see how comedians in general have probably been annoyed with meme accounts and stuff like that. But doesn't everyone get in trouble for like stealing jokes? I mean, Amy Schumer, Lila, whatever his name is, Dane Cook. Like, I feel like everyone always somehow, because there's no such thing as being original.
Well, I think it's always a very hard thing to prove. That's why I think when you're the person that goes after the comic, you just look petty.
Right.
So it's like the people there was one joke that Amy Schumer said that was extremely similar to this woman, Wendy Liebman, who had come up 15 years prior to her. And, I mean, it was so exact. And in that respect, I kind of say, you did a stand-up special. Like, nobody
or maybe someone helped you write the jokes.
Yeah, or someone wrote it for you, and they're the ones who stole it. That's where I'm like, in that case, I kind of think that she didn't have the team around her that could have said, because we used to do that all the time. If someone would say something in the writing jobs I had, the stand-up comics would be like, oh, so-and-so has a bit like that, so-and-so has a bit. And then the host that would maybe use or like, oh, okay, well, then cut it out. Like, how is he dealt with? He's not at the club every night. Like, you have to depend on the people around you to kind of like say that. But sometimes there are really similar themed things. And in that case, I remember I was trying out for Last Comic Standing, and I had a joke. And the joke was that I said, I was watching Oprah. That's how long ago it was. I was watching Oprah, and, I'm a mom, and I don't know how these other moms do it. They are back to their original weight at 10 days after giving birth, always keep a spotless house, or up to date with all the scrapbooking. And I'm watching this episode of I just screwed it up. I'm watching this episode of Oprah going, why is crystal meth getting such a bad rap? Because these moms were crystal meth moms. But when I watched the episode in real life, this is how I was like, this chick's getting a lot done. Like when she was crying about being a meth addict, she was like, I'm cleaning the house, I'm da-da-da-da. And I was like, God, I'd like that motivation, Yeah. And so that's how I wrote the joke. Like, because I'm a mom and I would like to be able to live on just 4 hours of sleep, like a meth head. Mm-hmm. So I wrote the joke and I performed it. And Ant, who was this guy that was one of the judges, is like, I'm going to stop you right there. That's my joke. I go, what? And he goes, that's my joke. He goes, and you know what? It's not that funny when I say it, and it's really not funny when you say it.
He sounds like a nice guy. Is that your husband?
No.
And then we married after. Sorry.
No. He was this guy, Ant. And what was his name? Ant. And I was like, I'm going to tell you right now where that joke came from. There was an Oprah episode with crystal meth moms. I was a new mom, because I was like, fuck you. Because this is the second time it happened to me. The other time it happened to me was a Star 69 joke, which you guys are too young to know, but there was a thing on the phone where someone called you and hung up, or the last call you wanted to call back, all you did was Star 69, which is just a funny thing. It's a sexual thing. It's an easy thing to write a joke about. I wrote a joke, again, from my perspective. And this other guy had a joke about it, different, but about it, and accused me of stealing it. And again, I was like, here is my notebook of how I came up with it. Because I was like, and then at a certain point, I just remember, I go, you know what, if I just talk about my family, no one can say I stole that fucking joke. Like, no one can say I took something, you know, if my son Brandon said this to me, he said it to me, you know, like, I'm just going to talk about my own life. And I still, but some of the best jokes are those general jokes that everyone can get. So you come up with one, you love it, but if 10 other people are doing that same Tinder joke, then you're like, all right, let's let that one go.
But I think it's hard. Like, I think I've had that issue with one of my friends before who's also, like, a funny girl like me.
Yeah.
And, like, even with Coachella, my sister sent me some video, and then I posted the video from Coachella, and I was like, Coachella's the new, what did I say, influencer meetup, or, like, the new influencer something. I made a joke. But then I guess the same day, my friend made a joke about influencer and Coachella, something like that. So then when we were, like, recording something together, and I was saying how I said that, joke, goes, oh, did you say it? Oh, that's so crazy, because I said it the same day. What time did you say it? And I was thinking, like, are you, like, is this really happening? Like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, is this for real? But it was, like, her trying to claim the joke, and I can understand what she was doing, but it's, like, that's the problem. There's no such thing as being original, or, like, a lot of times people just think very similar. Like, I can tell you even how many times I saw a meme that I was like, this is going to kill. And within, like, an hour, Fuck Jerry, the Fat Jewish, posted it too. And I saw it, like, on some random account. But a lot of times people just think the same. Yeah. And also with funny people in general, like, obviously, Fuck Jerry's not, like, a comedian or a funny person, but, I mean, like, well, he's not. He's a business person. He's a businessman. I don't mean in a bad way. It's not his thing. Betches are not comedians or funny girls either, and I still love them. But, yeah, my friend, like, we've had times where we hung out together so much that our jokes start to sound similar, and then we can't tell, like, who's stealing whose jokes, but it's like, really, you're not stealing anyone's jokes.
Yeah, that's happened with comedian friends of mine too. It's like who began and who finished. Like, they're just alike, and they connected because they are alike. You know, they have a similar sense of humor, so they hit it off. Yeah. And then, but when your sense of humor is your job, then that can be a little bit difficult.
I mean, it's hard. Like, I feel like at this point you can tweet, like, I love water, and someone's gonna come after and be like, what the fuck? I tweeted I love water in 2005. Like, how dare you not give me credit? And I'm like, okay, can we just both love water? Yeah. I guess not.
I do love water, by the way.
I love water.
Hold on, let me post that. I love water. Wait, now, before you serious? You go, I want to hear about your Coachella Molly story.
What?
Did you have a Coachella Molly story?
What are you talking about?
What?
I mean, I took it down, so I didn't actually. I took that episode down because I didn't want to talk about it. But what about it?
I'd like to know about it. I heard it was a juicy story.
I had a really bad trip. I don't even know how to get into it. It's so depressing. Don't do Molly. Don't do drugs in general.
Well, I don't do drugs, so I don't know what Molly is like.
Well, I don't know how to get into it, how to get started, because already, like, you know, I'm like, that's the old me. That was like a month ago.
Oh, so it was just this past Coachella.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I tried Molly for the first time.
Now, is Molly like a little pill you stick in your tongue?
It's a pill that you swallow.
Okay, with no water or with water?
But I think you can put it in your drink, too. There's, I think, a lot of different ways that I took a Molly, and I just think I also was in the right headspace, and I was just, because it was that month, I also bought a house, and I was going through escrow, and I just finished escrow, and my mortgage was really high, and I was doing everything kind of what it felt like on my own, and it was just too stressful, and in order for me to go to Coachella, I had to, like, start this one night, unpack my boxes in order to pack a suitcase in order to go to Coachella. It's like, I just want to sleep. Like, I didn't want to be there. So I'm stressed out. I'm kind of depressed, but I don't realize that I'm depressed yet. And Molly or drugs in general, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to say to people to do drugs, but if you do drugs,
be in a good mood when you do them.
Be in a good headspace. I'm just being serious. It's the truth, especially with Molly.
What is the difference between Molly and ecstasy?
I think Molly is just, I've never done ecstasy, but supposedly ecstasy is more harsh, and Molly, like, lasts only for a few hours, and supposedly, quote unquote, it's, like, easier going and more fun. I'm not sure. I don't know.
But does Molly make you as more, like, lovey-lovey, wanting to touch everyone and make out?
Yeah.
Or is that...
Yeah.
Because that's ecstasy, too.
Right.
Okay.
But you've never done drugs. You Googled this?
No, but I remember the ecstasy thing was people always like, oh, you'll be kissing on people. That's ecstasy.